Are you having trouble removing the oil filter cap on your Chevy Colorado or your GMC Canyon? Either because you don't have the right tools or because it's really stuck on there hard. I just found myself in that situation and I was getting pretty frustrated. And then I did what always works best for me. I stopped trying for a few minutes and then I thought about what I could do differently. And I came up with an idea to try and it worked really well. And I guarantee you that I will always use this trick or hack or whatever you want to call it every time I change my oil on this truck going forward. And I'm going to share this tip with you, and I think many of you will use this trick too. But first of all, let's make sure this video is right for you. You have either a Chevy Colorado or a GMC Canyon truck with the model years 2015 through 2022. And you're either planning to or already having difficulty with changing the oil yourself on your truck because the oil filter cap is in a tough location and you're having trouble turning it. If that's you, you've come to the right place. This video does not go through the whole oil change process because one, there are many other good videos out there that show you the entire process just fine. Two, the rest of the process is actually pretty simple. And three, you want to see a relatively quick video that shows you the absolutely one best tip to make the hardest part of changing the oil on your Colorado or Canyon super easy. But first, real quick, I do want to welcome you to How To with Kevin, where of course I'm Kevin. I made this channel to share things that I've learned over the years that hopefully will help you do them as well. And maybe even save you a little time or money. We cover a lot of different things here. Home improvement projects, tech stuff, self-care, really anything. So I hope you consider subscribing so you can help me build this channel to where we can do even more here. All right, let's get into it. If you've done your homework or watched other videos, you know you need a 24mm socket or wrench to remove the oil filter cap. The biggest issue is that the oil filter cap is difficult to work with because of where it's located. It sits low down with a lot of things around it. And it's hard to get leverage because there's so little room to work with. The first couple of times I changed the oil and filter on my truck, I struggled to remove the filter cap but was always able to do it with just a socket wrench and no extension bar with just little turns. However, the last couple of oil changes, I had it serviced professionally when I was getting it inspected. And I'm not saying that that was the reason I was having trouble, but I did wonder if they torqued it on more than they should have. I also wonder if I've gotten a little weaker, but whatever the reason, this time I just could not turn the oil filter cap the way I'd done it before. And while I have extension bars for my socket wrench, I did not have a long enough one for the 1/2-inch drive for my 24mm socket. So as I finally stopped tugging on my wrench without success, I figured I would have to get a longer extension bar that would fit my socket. And if that's what I would have done, I would have never made this video. Instead, I came up with a different solution to try, just by taking a few minutes to think through this and come up with other options for what I already had on hand. And what I came up with was trying a tool that I already had, and you might too. And that tool is a 4-way lug wrench or tire iron. You know, for like taking the lug nuts off when you're changing your tires. The beauty of this wrench is that it's long enough to get to the filter cap, and with the 4-way setup, you can easily get leverage while turning the cap. And as hard as I was tugging on the wrench and not turning the cap, it was as equally as easy to turn it using the 4-way tire iron or lug wrench. I can't begin to tell you how amazed I was when one side of the 4-way lug wrench actually fit onto the cap and turned it so easily. I cannot tell you enough that I will use this tool before I will ever put a socket wrench on the oil filter cap ever again. So a couple of caveats if you have this tool to try it or if you want to buy one that will work. For it to work on the Colorado or Canyon oil filter cap, the first caveat is that the 4-way lug wrench has to be sufficiently long enough for the one arm of the lug wrench to be able to get to the cap, while the other arms, the ones you're turning, are able to turn freely over the engine unimpeded. My wrench is about 21.5 inches long, and it looks like I have a couple of inches to spare. I'm thinking one maybe just a little shorter than that could work as well. The second caveat is that it has to have the correct lug size. The perfect scenario is one that is 24mm. However, that's not a typical lug size. It's never that easy, right? But what is really close, as I learned through my stab in the dark attempt, is one that fits a 15/16 inch lug nut. A 15/16 inch wrench or socket is slightly less than 24mm. Using Google, I found 15/16 of an inch converts to 23.81mm, so really close. To me, the wrench felt fairly snug, so I didn't worry about turning the cap with it, but if you're worried that you could strip the oil filter cap because it's not an exact fit, I understand that. You could try some layers of thin tape around the cap or some really thin type of metal to build it up a little to snug it up. All I can tell you, like so many of my many projects, is what I did. I always defer to you to do your due diligence and make the best decision for yourself. If you already own a 4-way lug wrench or tire iron, definitely give it a shot. Just remember that when you reinstall the oil filter cap with the new filter that you don't over torque it using the 4-way lug wrench. It would be easy to do. Remember, you're not trying to impress anyone with your strength, you just want it on there snug. Now if you don't have a 4-way tire iron or you don't have the right size, I'll link one for you in the description that you could look at. Unfortunately, I can't find the exact one I have to link, but I'll make sure that the one I do link should work based on the specs. Just keep in mind, I'm not being sponsored by the product, I'm just trying to make it easy for you to find a highly rated option that should work for you. If you look around, you might find a cheaper version that will work just as well. So what do you think about this little trick or hack for removing the oil filter cap on your Chevy Colorado or GMC Canyon? Leave a comment. If you found it helpful, please like the video. And if you enjoy learning about or doing a variety of DIY projects, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. We'd love to have you on board. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.